Good evening and welcome to the first Planning Commission meeting of 2026. I'd like to make a couple introductions real quick. Robert Siebert, Township Attorney, is with us tonight. Jonathan Palin, Township Planner, is with us tonight. Ava Miller and Joe Baum is here with Giffords Webster. And if you would like to silence your phones, we'd appreciate it. And with that, please let me just open it up at 7 o'clock, January 6th, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to take roll call. Rick LaBelle?
Here.
Kathy Vosberg is excused for tonight's meeting. Richard Brokart?
Here.
Brian Carr?
Here.
Ralph Jaworski?
Here.
James Kalinowski?
Here.
Mark Renault?
Here.
Eric Heider? Carl Leonard? Here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from December 2nd, 2025. Motion by Carl Leonard, supported by Rich Brokart. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
Motion by Carl Leonard, supported by Rick LaBelle. Any questions? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have public comments. So anybody from the public can come up for 3 minutes. You can talk about anything you want. If you're going to talk about the rezoning, it's fine, but it's been closed and there's no new information that can be submitted. With that, please come up, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
I'm not fashionable. Here again, on 5264 Laurel Oak Lane, Chesterfield Township. You want me to do something?
Push button up far right on the bottom.
Okay. Want me to repeat?
Please.
Gary Gunnerelek, 52624 Laurel Oak Lane, Chesterfield Township. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. Secondly, the mural on the fire station at 23 Mile Road looks great. During this past year when the guy was painting it, I watched him on many occasions because I live in close proximity to it. It turned out great. I've been involved with some solar projects in other communities, not Chesterfield, and in this December 2025 State Bar Journal for the Michigan Bar Association, there was an article on solar energy and some new legislation that restricts subdivisions and condominium associations and other entities from interfering with the solar energy. So I made a copy of it, and I got 12 here, so it'll give you something to read when you have nothing else to do. I'll give it to the chairman. It also deals with some deed restriction statute that was passed recently. Thank you.
Could you please push the button back again?
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come up? Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Rhonda Ricketts, 53141 Bates Road. You mentioned that the rezoning is closed for any comments?
No, not for comments, if you want to say anything about it, but no new information can be submitted.
All right, because I
The-
have over 100 signatures from residents and taxpayers from the area affected.
They would have had to been turned in at the last meeting because the public hearing was closed at the
Right, 'cause
last
we
meeting.
did
so-
not know that there was a end to any information.
I'm just telling you what the rules are.
So why weren't we told this at the last meeting?
Not sure. Everybody that was at the meeting got up and said what they wanted to say.
But we weren't told that no further comments when the meeting was tabled to tonight, that no more comments or information could be submitted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a reason for you. We normally don't. Usually we have a public hearing, it's open, everybody has their say, and then we close the public hearing at the end of that.
And so public comment on this item is limited to just comments? I mean, could I just stand here and tell you every person's name that signed this?
I have to take that up with the township attorney, but as far as I know, we can't submit any more information.
All right, well, just so you know, we have over 100 signatures
Okay,
of residents in the area that are opposed to the rezoning.
okay, thank you,
So if you'd like to see these, you're more than welcome.
thank you, appreciate it.
My name is Robert Fleury. I live at 53081 Bates Road, right across the street from zone. So what is, I need to understand, when you say it's closed, is it elected to them to get to sell the property and it can be rezoned? I'm kind of
Are
confused.
you talking about the rezoning on the agenda for tonight?
For the
On that corner?
24 in Gratiot.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I'm not sure if you were here, but everybody, we opened the public hearing.
Right.
They allowed everybody to get up and talk about whatever they wanted to, and at the end of it, questions were asked from the public, commissioners asked questions, and then at that point, the public hearing's closed.
But what does that mean? I don't understand.
It just
Closed
means
for-
that it moves on to the next meeting, which is tonight. And tonight, we're going to discuss it, and
Oh,
some
okay,
kind of
so it's still ongoing?
yeah.
Nothing's
the
closed
vote-
as far as
right, the
selling the
vote-
property and,
Yeah, the vote hasn't been
All right.
taken yet, but all the back and forth between the general public and
Right,
the
okay.
township has
All
been
right.
done at the
Well-
last meeting. And then tonight, there's going to be any questions that the commissioners might have, and then at some point, there'll be some kind of vote
okay,
before the meeting's up tonight.
gotcha. Okay.
All right,
I
thanks.
just wanted to be clear about that.
Sorry for the
Yeah,
confusion.
that's all right.
Anyone else?
This one here, okay. Linda Fleury, Bates Road, 53081, Bates. Question on the property about the rezoning. I know at the last meeting, when we were here, the developer was saying that it's not written in stone that it's going to be a gas station. He said that he could possibly put a strip mall in. Well, just driving up and down Gratiot, we have 24-plus strip malls that are vacant, buildings that are vacant. There's 2 at 24 in Gratiot. The 7-Eleven has 2 empty buildings, and then we have at Leo's Coney Island, I think they just built that 2 or 3 years ago. There's 4 vacant spots there. And then we got Panera Bread, we got 2 buildings, and then Big Lots is out, Value Cities is out. On Cotton Gratiot, we have the Comerica Bank and Rite Aid that's empty. Little Caesars at 23 in Gratiot, behind the Happy's Pizza, is 2 empty buildings. And then at the old Secretary of State that used to be behind AutoZone there, we have 2 empty spots there. Between the dollar store and PetSmart, we have one. Eagles Bar, back there, we have 2 empty spots back there. Joann Fabrics is out of business, and then in that strip mall, we have 3 empty spots. You know, I don't think we need another strip mall in Chesterfield Township. If anything, those buildings that are open, we could probably do like a Trader Joe's, or we really need a fruit market. We don't have a fruit market around here, like, you know, Nino Savaggio, or maybe we should go talk to, you know, Vincent Joe's and see if they want to invest in Chesterfield. I understand the people want to sell their property. At one point, I had called back 7 years ago, and they had the property at $1 million. And because my mom was thinking, wow, that would be really nice. We could build a house, whatever, and open an ice cream place there for locals. And she said, not for $1 million. And then we found out that there's that drain, the main drain, the easement. And then there's, it's called, I think, Omig drain that runs through the property there. It services a lot of the subdivisions, and it also services, it goes way out to like 23 Mile Road by the new Sheets and the Speedway. I just think working in that area there, you're going to open a can of worms.
Thank you.
Start digging.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin. Anyone else like to come up? Last call? Thank you. We'll close the public comments, and we'll go into the public hearing for the proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance for building materials. And Rick, would you like to read that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item A is text amendment to Chapter 76 zoning ordinance. Amendments to provide for the appropriate and compatibility standards of building materials within the township, including specific standards related to the building surface materials and alteration ordinance. The public hearing was back on December 2nd, and it remained open. And Ava Miller, if you would please elaborate as to what has changed since then.
Hello. So I will just provide a brief overview of all of the changes that were made to the amendment, as well as the updated changes from the last meeting. So this amendment removed, rearranged regarding building materials. So some of the changes that were made overall were adding a schedule of pre-approved building materials and specifications. So this listed out pre-approved materials provided outside of the ordinance that can be reviewed on a regular basis by the PC and does not require a text amendment to update or change it. Next change was requiring all, not just the front facades, to meet building material requirements in the next section. The next change was requiring a 36-inch high impact barrier on all facades. The next change was creating building material composition tables for facades in the waterfront district as well as the rest of the district. So it lays out how much brick or masonry is required depending on which way the facade of a building is facing, like whether it's facing a road or not, and then as well as what district it is in. Also covered is alternative building materials. So when developers want to use a material that is not on this list, the standard says it has to be approved by the Planning Commission, and if it is approved, it will then be added to the schedule. And the purpose of updating this ordinance is to provide clearer standards for applicants and to have direction for staff to provide to applicants to help streamline conversations between them. And then the changes specifically from the last meeting were to add in subsection D, which applies to painted materials. And so that one is now 3.4. So no materials that are painted or require painting shall be permitted on any elevation of any building in any zoning district. So we clarified that, and then we also added a sentence at the end of section D to state that any materials approved by the Planning Commission will be added to the pre-approved materials list for future proposals. So anything that is approved will be added to the list, and the list will state when it was last updated. So those last two were the changes since the December 2nd meeting. But that about covers it. If there's any other questions, I'll be here to answer them.
Thank you. Okay, we'll bring it up to the board. Does the board have any comments or questions? We'll start with Eric. Ralph? James?
I'm good.
Rich?
All set.
Mark?
Nope, I believe we covered everything last meeting, so I'm good.
Brian?
No comments.
Rick?
No.
And the chair has no comments. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Go to the public. Gary wants to speak.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. The public hearing is still open. I do apologize. Does anybody from the public like to come up and tell us a few things?
Gary Gunnernock, I've reviewed this memo from Giffords and Webster, so I had a few questions. It appears from the document that you're going to remove EFS as a pre-approved building material. I'm pretty sure this building has EFS on it, and the DPW building over there on Sierra Drive has it. So you're, in essence, for whatever reason, saying you can't have EFS, but it's an accepted building material, and it's kind of like saying you can't drive a Ford in this area, you only can drive a Chevy. And it's somewhat subjective, being a working question. And then you have the provision as to 36 inches of masonry as a barrier. I just know of a situation here in Chesterfield probably like 10 years ago. The people had masonry. The lady got out of her car, left it running with little kids in the car. Somebody crawled over the driver's seat, put it in drive, and drove it into the store. The masonry, and it was like 3 feet and then glass. Fortunately, nobody got hurt, but my mother-in-law was in there, and she had fallen a few days before, so she had some bruises on her face, and when the police showed up, said, like, should we call an ambulance? And the beautician said, no, she always looks like that. The other thing, too, is that you have different standards, and in some places it says it's applicable to all buildings. So my question is that applicable to residential? And then why is there a different standard if you're in the waterfront district versus some other district of residential? Because I've lived here a few days, and if you go to the waterfront district, almost all the houses are brick, like if you go to Lottie View or Miller Court and a lot of the other Harbor Drive. So I just wondered why there was a difference in that. And then by way of illustration, if you have a list, like one of them on there is hardy board, well, 30 years ago, hardy board wasn't around, but now it's an accepted building material. So if you have this list and then the builder, petitioner, developer wants to do something different because there's a new product out, they have to somehow persuade the Planning Commission that this new product is just as good as what is already on the list. So I think that subjective aspect does a disservice, and it also impacts on the cost of structures. And if you mandate certain things, I think most people, you build a commercial building or industrial building or residential building, if you're the builder or the owner involved in it, you want your building to last and look good. That's part of your motivation. And then part of this seems to say you can't have a building where you paint part of the structure unless the paint's put on at the point of manufacturing of the product. That's the exterior of the building. So, you know, Sherwin-Williams and other paint companies have been around for a long time, and there's a lot of buildings that are painted, and people do periodically, you know, have to repaint them. But I think that's an accepted material, and it seems to me that Chesterfield shouldn't be precluding it. And then on page 4 of this memo, where it says District under 3, it references subsection E, but I think maybe that might be a typo. It should be maybe section D, because when you flip the page, there's a section D, but there's no section E on the one that was sent to me by the planning department. Let me just see. That's it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the audience like to come up? All right. With that, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Motion by Carl Leonard, supported by Rick LaBelle to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. With that, I'll bring it back up to the board and see if anybody has any comments or questions.
I guess, can we answer some of the questions that Mr. Gandanelli had? Okay, on how we kind of made this kind of takes away the residential district or zoning. The housing can do anything they want. This is strictly for new development. Yes, there are buildings in Chesterfield that have EFS, but as of today, what we're doing for new developments, we're trying to get rid of that portion and kind of doing more of a more newer established materials. So relating what was done in the past to what we're doing now is a little different. So just want to make that clear. So hardy board, a resident can still put hardy board on their house if they want. Strictly new development. Thank you.
Thank you. Ralph, anything? James? Rich? Mark? Brian? Greg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gary, one of the things that you brought up was a 3-foot barrier, the 3-foot masonry barrier. As Eric had said, we're trying to introduce, materials have evolved in the last 20 to 30 years. Currently, our ordinance requires brick or better on the front of the building. There are a lot more materials out there now that are wonderful, and architecturally, and our two architects would attest to this, is that it gives them more option to present a building other than just a brick facade in the front of a building. And one of the things that I personally have pushed for was to have masonry up to a certain level because of snow shovels, things of that nature, destroying the other alternative materials that may not have quite the structural integrity of a 3-foot barrier. We came up with a 3-foot barrier. We thought it was sufficient. That's where that came from. EFS, Eric explained that. And you talked about hardy board. It's a fiber cement product. It's very durable. It's pre-colored in the factory. But it's not only hardy board, but there's other manufacturers out there other than James Hardie that provide a material like that, which we have recently been presented with for other projects that have gone on in the township just recently. And actually, in my opinion, they're wonderful products. They're sturdy, they're pre-colored, they have a wonderful warranty. That's the reason for the statement of the hardy board. Hardy board is the same. As far as the paint, this is for new construction only. We have always had in our ordinance written that, at least in my tenure, that you cannot paint a new structure. So if you put up masonry, you put up brick, you put up something, you cannot paint it but if something is painted, we expect them to keep up with the maintenance on those buildings, and that's still allowable to maintain your building, to paint your building and to maintain it. This is for new construction only. Was there anything else? I think I wrote everything down. Was there anything else that you had? That was it? That's summary?
But I agree with that Hardy board. Like you said, Hardy boards are relatively recent material, and I've seen it on many buildings that I've been involved with on behalf of developers, and it seems very durable. It's pre-made, it's pre-colored. But and it's good to have the list because the developers like that because it's somewhat objective. But as to future products that come along, because we all know that Hardy board wasn't probably around, I don't know at the time, but say 30 years ago. And most people, if you're building a building, whether it's a house, an office, whatever, you build it with the intent of it being a sturdy, good-looking building that's easy to maintain. That's part of your motive because you're investing your money in it. And that's why sometimes developers that I represent in different places, they say like, hey, it's kind of like the Gestapo is saying you can only do this and you can't do that. And it's good to have the pre-list, but as to future products, what's the hoops you have to jump through to get to that approval?
Well, let me comment on that. Just as I just made a mention a few moments ago about a developer came in here with a material similar to, it was a cement fiber board. And it's called Nichiha. We looked at it and we approved his building. We approved him to put it on his building. If there are other materials that come up in the future, this is just something so that the township employees, so that the planning department, the building department has something to get started with the developers and the builders. They still have to come in front of us and just demonstrate what they're doing. And we will review all those materials. And as Ms. Miller said just a moment ago when she was going through her narrative, she made the statement that if in fact a builder comes up or a developer comes up or a manufacturer comes in front of us and presents a new material, it can be added to the list. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, but it's just like, you may have a good material, but the person's not able to persuade you 9 people that it's a good material, and then they can't use it. But
It's always a possibility.
Right.
But I think we're very subjective and we always try to accommodate everybody.
yeah,
Thank you.
And we're always open to new material because everything's always evolving, technology is always there. Separating, some of the zoning districts with the waterfront district, of course, if you want a waterfront district on the new building, we want it to look, a little nautical like in some other, communities. We don't want, a all brick building, in the waterfront district that doesn't really kind of go into that district. Waterfront is more nautical, so that's why we're kind of separating that percentage into just something normal. So, thank you.
Also, the way it worked in the past is it was always brick or better. So you had to figure out what did that mean, and it was mostly masonry. And we always used to have different products come up, and we did consider them, and sometimes they were approved and sometimes not yet because the materials were too new, warranties weren't that great. The difference between the Nichiha and the Hardy board, the Nichiha has different thicknesses. And we were looking for the commercial aspect to have a more durable product on the cement board products. So this expanded list came about from all those inquiries over the years. The problem was it was always dragged out and it was a scramble. So this took a lot of that out. It gives a pretty good list of everything that was addressed that is durable and with good warranties. And if there's anything that comes up in the future, we'll look at that the same way all these were looked at in put on the list. The list isn't closed, but it's where we're at today, and we'll vote on it, and this is where we'll. Sure.
With reference to the 3-foot barrier, does that provision also apply to homes?
No, this is this is all commercial.
Okay,
So residential has nothing to do with this list.
okay. Because part of it has, what materials you have for residential on the waterfront versus non-waterfront, and that's why I asked that.
And then sometimes you'd mention some of the waterfront, if there's an association, they have certain things they require. They might want all brick on the house, and that overrides what we allow. So, no, this is strictly for the commercial aspect, so that when they come in, there's a good guide, a good point of beginning, so that when they do present their paperwork, sometimes it's pretty much complete now, rather than it's an ongoing process to get it ironed out. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just correct one thing. It does apply to multifamily, but single residential, no. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Oh,
This,
Because we'll close the public hearing, we're making our vote for this evening.
yeah,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and to forego the 2-week waiting period to vote on this topic.
okay, I did close the public hearing before, didn't I?
Yeah, I did think you did. That's why I did it.
Because I made a motion to close the public hearing and Rick supported it.
Well, no, he stopped it because Mr. Gallinello wanted to speak.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he hit reverse. Okay,
So I'll support Mark's motion to close the public
all right, let me change the names now. So we got a motion by Mark
hearing. And forego the 2-week waiting period.
and supported by Mark, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I made the motion. Rick supported it.
Okay, motion by Mark Renault, supported by Rich Brokart to close the public hearing and forego the 2-week waiting period. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, please. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the elected officials of the regular board for the proposed text amendment to Chapter 76 zoning ordinance. And the reasoning for my recommendation is that the building materials in our township have needed to be updated, to be more modernized in many years. So the proposed amendment had taken a lot of time on all of our parts to come up with this list and to make the changes. And I would, with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve that.
You have a motion? Have a motion by Rick LaBelle, supported by Eric Heider, to approve recommend approval to the text amendment for Chapter 76 zoning ordinance for building materials. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll do the regular agenda. We had a rezoning, the public hearing was closed. Do we read this?
I will.
Yeah. Rick's going to read the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item A is rezoning number 377, requesting to rezone 2.015 acres of property located on the northwest corner of 24 Mile Road and Gratiot Avenue from R1A, one family residential, and M1 light manufacturing to C3 general commercial. The parcel numbers are 15-09-08-4 476-005. And the decision or the vote was postponed on December the 2nd, 2025, when the public hearing was closed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have any questions or comments?
Just a couple comments. This is an interesting rezoning because we have a parcel that has residential and light industrial zoning to it, which is kind of rare in general. And with the surrounding zonings, I think it'd probably be a better development if it does get zoned to C3 because it's less of a spot zoning. And not so much as a gas station, but as, something more as a fruit market which we would need that would kind of help out to go into the general zoning area. So I have no problem with this.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to point out that the only thing we're voting on today, and is for the folks out in the audience, that we're only having a vote on the actual rezoning. As far as what goes on that parcel, we don't know. It hasn't been proposed to us. We haven't seen plans. And if this gets approved tonight, the only thing that's going to happen next is whatever they decide to do has to come back in front of this board, and we have to either agree with it or not agree with it. But today is only the rezoning, and I agree with Eric Heider there that having it split like that, it doesn't make sense. We need to clean that up. So that's all.
Okay.
I'd like to add one thing. We don't approve or deny tonight. All we do is make a recommendation to the elected officials who sit on the board. So what we decide to do tonight is we're either going to recommend it or not. I'm prepared to make a motion in this regard, but the final decision doesn't rest with this group. The elected officials will make the final call based on a recommendation or maybe not. We'll see.
Okay. I'm going to assume that no one else has anything to add. So with that, Rich said he had a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion regarding the requested rezoning of parcel 150908 476-005. This is 2.015 acres of vacant property located on the northwest corner of 24 Mile Road and Gratiot Avenue. The requested rezoning from R1A, single-family residential, and M1, light manufacturing, to a single designation of C3, general commercial. I move that this commission recommend approval to the Township Board for this rezoning request as stated. This commission understands that there are 10 items for consideration when rezoning maps are amended. I'll address each of the 10. Number one, is the zoning plan consistent? Is the planned zoning consistent with the master plan? I believe the master plan designates this parcel as mixed use. By definition, C3 zoning is intended to provide for a wide diversity of business activities, which are predominantly, but not necessarily, totally retail in character. The purpose and intent of proposed C3 zoning therefore aligns with the master plan, as mixed use and wide diversity accomplish a similar intention. Number two, what other impact would the rezoning have on public services, utilities, and natural features? The Giffords-Webster report dated 11/7/2025 documents well that the Sutherland Ornig drain runs through this site. Almost all of the site is covered by hydric soils. Municipal water and sanitary sewer are available with available capacity to serve this project exist in the area. Number three, has the applicant provided evidence that the property cannot be developed or used as currently zoned? As currently zoned, this site has been for sale for 10 years with no suitable buyers and no suitable development to date. Number four, is the proposed zoning district and potential land use compatible with surrounding uses? The proposed C3 general commercial zoning district would make all four corners of this intersection have the exact same zoning. Number five, Will the rezoning place a burden on nearby thoroughfares? Again, the 11/7/2025 Giffords report details that the proposed rezoning is not likely to place a burden on any nearby thoroughfares. Number 6, is there other land currently available for this use? Again, the Giffords-Webster engineering report documents there are no other available sites along 24 Mile Road and in the township that are currently available and zoned C3. Number 7, will the development of the site under the proposed zoning be able to meet zoning district requirements? You'll see I've referenced the engineering report several times. I'm going to do it again. According to Giffords-Webster, the site appears to be able to meet most of the C3 development dimensional standards. Specific building locations or the location of any specific building and how they're to be positioned will be contemplated under separate consideration by the township. Not tonight. Where those buildings are located comes back later. Number 8, is the rezoning the best way to address the request? This request for rezoning is the most appropriate way to address the proposed use. Number 9, has there been a change in circumstances or conditions since the master plan was developed in May of 2021? In my estimation, there do not appear to be any changes in the area since the master plan was adopted in May of 2021. The last question, would granting the request result in the creation of an unplanned spot zone? To answer this question, there are 3 subparts. The first is the request consistent with the master plan? Yes. By definition, mixed use and offering a wide diversity of business activities accomplishes a similar intent. Number 2, is the proposed rezoning a logical extension of the existing district? Again, I'm going to say yes. 3 of these 4 corners are already zoned C3. It will be consistent. Lastly, would approving the request grant a special benefit to the property owner or the developer? I do not see a special benefit, as all 10 of these requirements have been met. So, for the reasons stated, I move that we recommend approval to the Township Board for rezoning this parcel from R1A and M1 to C3 per the request of the applicant. Thank you for your patience.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Rich, supported by Eric Heider, to recommend approval on the rezoning of this property at 24 in Gratiot. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Any presentation, reports, discussions? Don't think there's any. We have planning commissioners' comments. We'll start down with Eric.
All set, thank you.
Ralph? James?
Nothing.
Rich?
I'm all set, thank you.
Mark?
I'm all good.
Brian?
None.
Rick?
Just want to say, glad to see all of you here this new year. Thank you for coming back. And I'd like to thank the audience for coming this evening. We really do appreciate your input, and thank you for coming in.
And I just have, I don't have anything to add, just glad to be back. And looking forward to 2026. And unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town the next meeting. So Vice Chair will be filling in and probably doing a better job than I did tonight. So with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:44.
Support.
Motion by Carl Leonard, supported by Mark Renaud, to adjourn the meeting at 7:44. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks for everybody coming out.